What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Tuesday, January 13th, 2026, and I have an emergency alert to share with you guys. Right now, it is 14:13 Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some major breaking news coming in from Iran and from Russia. So it looks like Trump is getting ready to strike Iran. Let me just update you guys with some of the latest that I have related to Iran. Also, Russia transmitted a very rare code on their primary nuclear war frequency, the Russian buzzer, also known as UVB-76. It's also known as the Russian Doomsday radio. So want to just update you on that as well. But here we have a post on Trump's Truth Social from this morning at 9:43 a.m. He wrote, "Iranian patriots keep protesting. Take over your institutions," in caps lock. He wrote that. "Save the names of the killers and abusers. They will pay a big price. I have canceled all meetings with Iranian officials until the senseless killing of protesters stops. Help is on its way. MEGA, make Iran great again. President Donald J. Trump." And he put that in caps lock. So help is on its way. MEGA, make Iran great again. Okay, so very, very serious. I think this could happen in the coming hours or in the coming days, potentially before the weekend. And I will be covering it live. I do have a 24/7 live stream on YouTube. You can tune into it all day long if you want to listen to the U.S. nuclear forces communicating in real time. And like I said, if anything happens, I will go live. Make sure you download my free app from the Google Play Store. If you search NYPrepper's Emergency Alerts, you'll see my app in the Google Play Store. There's also a link in the description down below. It's 100% free, and it lets me send out notifications to you when things happen, so you get emergency alerts directly to your phone. And here we have the Russian buzzer transmitting some kind of code, probably a high priority code for the Russian strategic forces. This could be related to upcoming strikes on Iran. It could be related to some kind of escalation. Maybe Russia is going to launch another Oreshnik at Ukraine. Maybe they're going to target the capital, Kyiv. They already targeted Lviv last week, which is just a few dozen miles away from NATO's border in Poland. So Putin was clearly trying to make a statement by launching that Oreshnik at Lviv, a city in western Ukraine. Okay, basically showing NATO that he's not afraid to strike right next to their border with ICBMs. But let me just play this for you.
Николай, Женя, Татьяна, Иван. Николай, Женя, Татьяна, Иван. 78 367. Константин, Ольга, Роман, Татьяна, Ольга, Дмитрий, Ольга, Николай, Григорий. 15 85 68 17.
So that was the code right there. And speaking of nuclear codes, yesterday we had over 60 nuclear codes transmitted by U.S. strategic forces. The average is probably 5 or 10, maybe 20, but we had over 60 yesterday. And this afternoon, there were already a few. In the last hour, they started going back to back. And this afternoon, we have this Cobra Ball airborne over North Dakota. This is a missile detecting and tracking plane. it can track the trajectory of missiles. So potentially Russia may be launching missiles soon, or Iran, or maybe North Korea. They typically send these into the air to track the missile and see what kind of trajectory it has and gather any kind of information about that. So something is about to go down with this Cobra Ball airborne. And then we also have a U.S. recon plane flying over the Ouachita Mountains and the southern Ozarks. And what's interesting is that it's actually flying under the registration of an aerial refueler. And it kind of spoofed its name to Jackie 11. Typically it's Jake 11, which is a RC-135 rivet joint, a recon plane. So for some reason, this recon plane flying near the Gulf and near Texas is spoofing its registration to look like an aerial refueler. So it's trying to hide itself. And it looks like it's keeping an eye on the Texas-Mexico border and also on the Gulf. So this could be related to cartel operations, anti-cartel operations. And then there's a B-52 looping over Louisiana right now. And here we have a sample of some of the U.S. nuclear codes, also known as emergency action messages. These messages are basically targeting information for our submarines, our silos, and our bombers, and they're constantly updating the targeting information. So they send out these codes. Let me just play a sample for you. And there were 3 of them back to back just a few minutes ago. And we're hearing that Trump did not attend the National Security Council meeting on Iran this morning, according to the White House. So that's pretty interesting that he didn't attend. And Trump was briefed last night for a wide array of military options against Iran, including cyber and psychological operations. This was reported by multiple media outlets. So he was briefed on a wide range of options, including full-scale strikes on Iran that would include targeting their nuclear and ballistic missile programs. This was reported by multiple sources. And in a brief interview with NBC News late on Sunday, Trump said that a possible U.S. response in the coming days could happen. Okay, let me just play this clip for you from Air Force One. Trump said a lot of interesting things about Iran, but he did say Sunday night in an interview with NBC that a response could happen in the coming days.
The protesters were killed through the stampeding. I mean, there's so many of them, and some were shot. We get a full report. I'm getting an hourly report, and we're going to make a determination.
He said, we're getting an hourly report, and we're going to make a determination, talking about the protesters being killed.
Iran to engage diplomatically with you, or perhaps negotiate on nuclear program.
With Iran?
Yeah, do you think they want to engage diplomatically with you?
They do. They called
you? Is it still
yesterday.
an option? Is it still an option?
Iran called to negotiate.
Yesterday.
The leaders of Iran called. They want to negotiate. I think they're tired of being beat up by the United States.
Are you sharing details on that call?
Iran wants to negotiate, yes.
Negotiate what?
We may meet with them. I mean, a meeting is being set up. But we may have to act because of what's happening before the meeting.
Right.
But a meeting is being set up. Iran called. They want to negotiate. Thank you very much.
And this update was sponsored by EMP Shield. Guys, EMP Shield has created a special discount just for you, the listeners of the NYPrepper channel. if you go to empshield.com and use the promo code NYPrepper, you can get 15% off your entire order. And why do you need an EMP shield? Well, this is a special device to protect your vehicle, your RV, your solar generators, your radios from an electromagnetic pulse, which could be caused by a solar flare or potentially a rogue country like North Korea detonating an electromagnetic pulse weapon over the United States that's mounted onto a satellite. So protect your vehicles, protect your RV, protect your radios, protect your generators with an EMP shield. Use my promo code NYPrepper to get 15% off. Installation is super simple. This is a veteran-owned business, 100% American-made, and the EMP shields have been tested by the military, okay? And free shipping is included to the entire continental United States. And the link and the promo code are in the description below this video. So he said here, this was over the weekend, he said we may have to act before the meeting, but this is what he said today, that the meeting has been canceled, okay? So no meeting as of right now. And we have this advisory posted on the U.S. Department of State website coming out of the U.S. Embassy in Iran, warning U.S. citizens to leave Iran and to take shelter because of the protests and the situation there. They wrote, protests across Iran are escalating and may turn violent, resulting in arrests and injuries. Increased security measures, road closures, public transportation disruptions, and internet blockages are ongoing. The government of Iran has restricted access to mobile, landline, and national internet networks. Airlines continue to limit or cancel flights to and from Iran, with several suspending service until Friday, January 16. So very, very interesting. And a new video emerged yesterday that unfortunately I cannot share here on YouTube of Iranian regime security forces shooting protesters in the head. There's just a bunch of dead protesters laying in the street with wounds to their head. And we're hearing that even women and children were shot. And from what I'm hearing is that the Iranian regime is deploying snipers to the rooftops, and they're shooting at the crowds from the rooftops, okay? So very cowardly thing to do, very sick and evil. So I hope that the regime in Iran is overthrown, because they are hardcore Islamic fundamentalists, and unless you're aligned with, you know, ISIS, or you're aligned with China or Russia, then having this regime in power in Iran is really not a positive thing, okay, for the region and for the world, okay? They're making nuclear weapons, and they're making missiles that can reach the United States, and they can easily reach Europe, okay? So I hope that whoever fills the power vacuum after this is not going to be another maniac like Khomeini or some crazy Islamic fundamentalist. And the New York Times reports that the Pentagon did present a wider range of strike options in Iran than previously reported, including strikes on nuclear and ballistic missile targets. And here we have some more footage from Air Force One showing Trump talking about Greenland. I'm going to play that for you in just a second here. But we're hearing that the elements of the Iranian regime are gearing up to escape from Iran, and they're loading up on planes to take off. This was reported by the opposition leader in Iran, Reza Pahlavi. He said this on mainstream media yesterday. So the Iranian regime is preparing to flee the country, okay? And the Wall Street Journal is reporting that Trump may consider targeting the Ayatollah Khomeini, the leader of Iran, directly using a Venezuela-style decapitation approach. And the German Chancellor, Friedrich Merz, said that the world is seeing the final days and weeks of the Islamic Republic of Iran, okay? So the German chancellor knows that Iran is about to collapse. And Iran's cyberspace command announced it has managed to successfully shut down 90% of Starlink access through electronic warfare. And the Wall Street Journal is reporting that Iran is hunting down people using Starlink and confiscating terminals while also jamming signals. Okay, so they're really going after it hard. And the Iranian foreign minister made some comments. He said the internet will return soon to embassies and ministries in Iran. He said that the internet shutdown occurred to maintain security. He said that Iran has information that other countries have been planning these protests. He said that Mossad elements are participating in the demonstrations to incite violence. He said that they have a lot of information that proves the intervention of America and Israel. He also said that they have evidence proving the distribution of weapons to the protesters. So I don't think anybody's going to really take Iran's side except Russia and China, okay? And here we have another comment from Trump about Iran. He said that if Iran retaliates and hits our bases, then they would be hit like they've never been hit before. So let me play this for you.
That they would consider military and commercial bases as legitimate targets if you struck. Are you concerned about?
If they do that, we'll consider things targets they wouldn't believe. If they do that, we will hit them at levels that they've never been hit before. They won't even believe it. I have options that are so strong. So, I mean, if they did that, it'll be met with a very, very powerful force.
He said if they do that, we'll hit them at levels they've never been hit before, and they won't believe it. So things are really heating up. And then here we have Trump talking about Greenland. He said that the only protection that Greenland has are dog sleds, referring to potentially Russia and China invading Greenland. So looks like Trump is saying now that the reason he wants Greenland is to prevent Greenland from being taken over by Russia and China. So let me just play this for you.
And Greenland, basically, their defense is 2 dog sleds. Do you know that? You know what their defense is? 2 dog sleds. In the meantime, you have Russian destroyers and submarines and China destroyers and submarines all over the place. We're not going to let that happen.
So very interesting. And then here's another comment about Greenland. He said that he wants to acquire Greenland and not lease it.
Plans for a joint NATO mission to protect Arctic security in Greenland. Does that change your calculus at all?
No, look, we're talking about acquiring, not leasing, not having it short term. We're talking about acquiring.
Does that require
And if we don't do it, Russia or China will, and that's not going to happen when I'm president.
Okay, so he said if we don't do it, Russia and China will. He said we're looking at acquiring, not leasing. And Trump said that he was ready to meet the acting president of Venezuela. The State Department said that Rubio discussed with his Mexican counterpart ways to dismantle drug cartels in Mexico. And Trump's Arctic commissioner said the U.S. could take action on Greenland within weeks or months. So very interesting. And the deputy head of the Greenland representation, Rebecca Lynch, and Denmark's ambassador to the U.S., Jesper Sørensen, met with Republican Representative Randy Fine following his introduction of the Greenland Annexation and Statehood Act. During the meeting, they reiterated the position of the government of Greenland that Greenland is part of the Kingdom of Denmark and as such a member of NATO whose defense must be guaranteed through the alliance. They stress that Greenland's governing coalition will not accept any attempt by the U.S. to take control of the territory under any circumstances, stating that Greenland is not for sale while remaining open to U.S. investment and economic cooperation. And Germany's Chancellor Friedrich Merz says he shares Trump's security concerns about Greenland, but he wants a NATO-based solution, not a confrontation. And the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense officially stated that the Oreshnik strike last week targeted the territory of the Lviv State Aviation Repair Plant, so some kind of airplane repair facility that was targeted by this Russian ICBM last week. And last night, 31 Russian ballistic missiles targeted power plants and substations across Ukraine, plunging Ukraine into darkness. And Britain is developing a new missile for Ukraine called the Nightfall ballistic missile. It's going to have a range of up to 500 kilometers and a 200-kilogram high-explosive warhead. Wow, so now the UK is literally building weapons to give to Ukraine to use against Russia. You see how that can lead to an escalation? And the leader of Chechnya, Ramzan Kadyrov, suffered kidney failure recently, and now discussions are underway in Russia about a potential successor. He is currently being treated at his private hospital in Chechnya. Very interesting. And South Korea rushed emergency generators to Ukraine after recent strikes on Ukraine's energy infrastructure. And last night, Ukrainian drones hit an aviation plant in Russia's Krasnodar Krai. The facility manufactures aircraft and spacecraft equipment, as well as components for drones, control systems, and electronic warfare systems. And we're hearing that Russia is now modifying their GUNNR 2 attack drones to be equipped with the Verba anti-aircraft missiles. So apparently all of the GUNNR 2 drones now will be equipped with these missiles, and the missiles are directly controlled by drone operators in real time using an optical camera in the nose of the drone. This allows the drone operator to remotely launch the Verba missile in the event of a Ukrainian aircraft being detected. So they're basically using anti-air missiles on these drones to protect the drones so they're not shot down, because Ukraine shoots down like 75% of these Russian drones every time they launch these massive drone attacks. So to counter that, they're literally just bolting on simple missile launchers onto these drones that they can use to shoot down any kind of Ukrainian fighter jets that are airborne, shooting down those drones or any kind of anti-air systems. And we had a lot of reconnaissance over Eastern Europe last night. Here you can see Forte 10, a U.S. recon drone patrolling eastern and northern Poland, flying through the Suwalki Gap into Lithuania, flying near Belarus and Russia. And then there was also NATO AWACS plane looping along the border of Ukraine and Poland. These NATO AWACS planes have been flying along the border of Ukraine and Poland for the last couple of days. And what's interesting is they've been flying closer to Belarus. So this tells me that there's something going on here in Belarus. There is a base here near the border of Poland and Ukraine in Belarus that houses thousands of Russian troops. And Pete Hegseth went to SpaceX's headquarters in Texas, and he made some comments. He said that we are done running a peacetime science fair while our adversaries are running a wartime arms race. Take a listen.
We are done running a peacetime science fair while our potential adversaries are running a wartime arms race.
Okay, so strong words there from Hegseth, and then interesting words from Elon Musk. Any of you Star Trek or Star Wars fans are going to like this.
We want to make Star Trek real. Okay? We want to make Starfleet Academy real. So that it's not always science fiction, but one day the science fiction turns to science fact. And we have spaceships going through space, big spaceships, with people going to other planets, going to the moon, and ultimately going beyond our star system to other star systems where we may meet aliens.
But that's the latest breaking news that I have. I will be monitoring the situation with Iran very closely. Tune into my 24/7 live stream. My wonderful moderators update the chat throughout the day so you can get some of the latest news there. You can follow me on Twitter. I post updates on Twitter throughout the day. Also download my app. And until the next time, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps. Prepare, practice, and persevere. And before I continue with the breaking news, I wanted to mention the sponsor for this update, which is NYPrepper Supply. Guys, NYPrepper Supply is doing a massive sale on their 3-month emergency food supply. And to get the deal, you got to use my link. It's in the description below this video. It's preparewithNYPrepper.com. So they're selling their 3-month emergency food kit at 30% off. Plus, they're going to throw in an additional month of food. So that's 4 months of food. And the normal price would be $944. And they're selling it at just under $700 for 4 months of food. And this food has a 25-year shelf life. And it's all packed into rugged, watertight buckets that don't take up a lot of space in your home. And the food is obviously nutritious, which is very important for surviving any kind of SHTF situation. You can also use this food for camping and traveling. But use the link preparewithNYPrepper.com to get a free month of emergency food with your 3-month emergency food kit from NYPrepper Supply, all at 30% off, just $700 for 4 months of food. So use the link preparewithNYPrepper.com to get the deal, and the link is in the description below this video.